If you're over 60 and struggling with memory lapses, trouble focusing, or that frustrating mental fog that seems to get worse every year, what I'm about to share with you might be the simplest yet most powerful change you can make starting today. I recently had a patient, a 72-year-old retired teacher, who was convinced she was developing dementia. Her family was worried sick. But after one simple change to her daily routine, something so basic that most people completely overlook it, her mental clarity improved dramatically in just weeks. And the most shocking part? This isn't some expensive supplement or complicated treatment. It's something that's been hiding in plain sight, backed by decades of research, yet somehow 90% of older adults aren't getting enough of it. I'm Dr. Emily Hartman, a neurologist with over 15 years of clinical experience specializing in cognitive health and age-related brain changes. I've worked with hundreds of patients struggling with memory decline, and I've seen firsthand how the smallest interventions can sometimes make the biggest difference. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend hitting that button and turning on the notification bell so you never miss another health tip made especially for you. If you enjoy this video, please leave your questions and suggestions in the comments below. I read every single one, and it helps me create more content to help people just like you. Let me tell you about Margaret Santos, a 68-year-old accountant from Portland who came to my office absolutely terrified. She'd been forgetting client names, struggling to concentrate on financial reports, and even missed an important deadline for the first time in her 40-year career. Her daughter had brought her in, convinced something was seriously wrong. Margaret told me, with tears in her eyes, that she was afraid she'd have to retire early, that her sharp mind, the thing she'd always been most proud of, was slipping away. When I asked about her daily habits, she mentioned she barely drank anything throughout the day except maybe 1 cup of coffee in the morning. She was chronically dehydrated, and her brain was literally starving for the most basic resource it needs to function properly. Here's what most people don't realize. Your brain is about 73% water, and it's incredibly sensitive to even mild dehydration. When you're not drinking enough fluids, your brain tissue actually shrinks temporarily. The cells don't communicate as efficiently. Blood flow decreases. And all of this happens before you even feel thirsty. Studies have shown that just 1 to 2% dehydration can impair cognitive performance, affecting everything from short-term memory to attention span and processing speed. In older adults, this effect is even more pronounced because our sensation of thirst naturally decreases with age. You might be significantly dehydrated without even realizing it. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is what I want you to pay close attention to. Plain water is essential. Absolutely. But there's one particular beverage that researchers have found offers additional cognitive benefits beyond simple hydration. I'm talking about green tea. And before you think this is just another health trend, let me explain the science behind why this ancient drink has become a subject of serious neurological research. Green tea contains a unique combination of compounds that work together to support brain health in ways that plain water simply cannot. The first is a group of antioxidants called catechins, particularly one called EGCG, which stands for epigallocatechin gallate. These compounds cross the blood-brain barrier and help protect brain cells from oxidative stress and inflammation, 2 major factors in cognitive decline. What makes EGCG particularly fascinating is its ability to reduce the formation of amyloid plaques and tau tangles, the protein deposits associated with neurodegenerative conditions. While it's not a cure, having these protective compounds circulating in your system daily creates a more favorable environment for brain health. The second key component is L-theanine, an amino acid that promotes relaxation without drowsiness and actually enhances the quality of attention and focus. L-theanine works by modulating neurotransmitter activity in very specific ways. It increases alpha wave activity in your brain, which is that state you experience when you're deeply focused but calm, similar to meditation. This is incredibly valuable for older adults who often struggle with either being too mentally sluggish or too anxious and scattered. L-theanine helps you find that sweet spot of alert calmness. When combined with the small amount of caffeine naturally present in green tea, you get this remarkable synergistic effect: improved alertness and concentration without the jitters or crash you might get from coffee. The caffeine blocks adenosine receptors, which helps you feel more awake, while the L-theanine smooths out the caffeine's effects, preventing that jittery overstimulation. It's like your brain gets a gentle, sustained boost rather than a sharp spike and crash. This combination has been shown to improve reaction time, working memory, and the ability to switch between tasks, all cognitive functions that tend to decline with age. If you're still watching and finding this information helpful, comment a number 1 below to show me you're with me on this. Let me share another case that really opened my eyes to the power of these simple interventions. Mr. Robert Chen, a 75-year-old retired engineer from San Francisco, came to see me because his wife was concerned about his increasing forgetfulness. Robert had always been meticulous, someone who never missed appointments, who could recall technical details from projects he'd worked on decades ago. But lately, he was repeating himself in conversations, forgetting where he'd put things, and struggling to follow complex discussions. His wife feared the worst. Robert himself was frustrated and scared. He'd watched his own father decline with Alzheimer's, and every memory slip felt like a step down that same path. During our consultation, I learned that Robert rarely drank anything throughout the day. He'd have coffee in the morning, maybe a glass of water with lunch, and that was it. His total fluid intake was probably less than 3 cups a day, well below the recommended amount. Additionally, his diet was heavy in processed foods, and he spent most of his days sitting indoors, not getting much physical activity or mental stimulation. When I asked him to describe a typical day, he painted a picture that broke my heart. He'd wake up around 8, have his coffee while reading the paper, then spend hours in front of the television. His wife would try to engage him in conversation, but he'd often zone out or forget what they were discussing mid-sentence. He'd stopped working on his woodworking projects because he couldn't focus long enough to make progress. His grandchildren would visit, and he'd mix up their names or forget stories they'd just told him. He could see the worry in everyone's eyes, and it made him withdraw even more. I explained to Robert that while we needed to do a thorough evaluation to rule out serious conditions, many of his symptoms could be related to chronic dehydration and lack of brain-supporting nutrients. His brain was essentially operating in a constant state of mild stress, not getting enough fluid to maintain optimal blood flow, not receiving the antioxidants needed to combat daily oxidative damage, and not being challenged enough to maintain its neural connections. It's like trying to run a high-performance engine on low-quality fuel and no maintenance. Eventually things start breaking down. I suggested he start drinking 4 to 5 cups of fluids daily, with at least 2 to 3 of those being green tea. I also recommended he increase his intake of colorful vegetables and fruits, and try to take a 30-minute walk each day. Robert was skeptical at first. He said to me, "Dr. Hartman, I came here expecting you to prescribe me some powerful medication, and you're telling me to drink more tea and go for walks." But he trusted me enough to try it. 3 months later, Robert returned for his follow-up. His wife was smiling before they even sat down. Robert told me he felt sharper, more like his old self. He was following conversations better, remembering details, and even started working on a woodworking project he'd abandoned months earlier. His mood had improved too. He had more energy and felt more engaged with life. Were all his cognitive challenges solved? No. Robert was still aging, still facing the normal changes that come with getting older. But by addressing the basic needs his brain had been missing, proper hydration and neuroprotective compounds, he'd given himself a significant boost in cognitive function. Now, let me explain exactly how green tea works in your brain, because understanding this will help you appreciate why it's so effective. When you drink green tea, several things happen simultaneously. First, the catechins I mentioned earlier act as powerful antioxidants. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's oxygen, and all that metabolic activity produces free radicals, unstable molecules that can damage cells. Think of free radicals like rust on metal. They're a natural byproduct of your brain's metabolism, but if left unchecked, they accumulate and cause damage. As we age, our natural antioxidant defenses weaken, and this oxidative damage accumulates. The catechins in green tea help neutralize these free radicals, protecting your neurons from damage. They also help preserve the integrity of cell membranes and support the health of mitochondria, the energy powerhouses of your cells. Second, L-theanine increases the production of neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and GABA in your brain. These are the chemicals that regulate mood, focus, and cognitive function. Dopamine is crucial for motivation and reward processing. Serotonin affects mood and emotional well-being, and GABA helps calm neural activity and reduce anxiety. L-theanine also increases alpha brainwave activity, which is associated with a state of relaxed alertness. This is why people who drink green tea often report feeling calm but focused, a very different sensation from the sometimes jittery alertness that coffee produces. It's particularly beneficial for older adults who may struggle with age-related changes in neurotransmitter production. Third, the mild caffeine content in green tea, about 30 to 50 milligrams per cup compared to 95 in coffee, provides just enough stimulation to enhance attention and reaction time without overwhelming your system. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine, a neurotransmitter that makes you feel tired. For older adults who might be more sensitive to caffeine, this gentler boost is often ideal. But there's another benefit that doesn't get talked about enough. Green tea has been shown to improve cerebral blood flow, literally increasing the amount of oxygen and nutrients reaching your brain. Better blood flow means better brain function, plain and simple. But if that surprised you, wait until you hear about the long-term benefits. Research involving thousands of participants followed over many years has found that regular green tea consumption is associated with a significantly lower risk of cognitive decline. Some studies suggest that people who drink green tea daily have up to a 45% lower risk of developing cognitive impairment compared to those who rarely drink it. While these are observational studies and can't prove causation definitively, the consistency of the findings across different populations, including studies from Japan, China, and Western countries, is compelling. What's particularly interesting is that the benefits seem to be dose-dependent, meaning the more consistently you drink green tea over the years, the stronger the protective effect appears to be. This isn't about drinking it for a few weeks and expecting miracles. This is about making it a lifelong habit that supports your brain health over decades. Let me tell you about Maria Oliveira, an 80-year-old former nurse from Boston. Maria lived alone after her husband passed away, and her 3 children, all living in different states, were increasingly worried about her. They'd noticed during phone calls that she seemed confused sometimes, would forget they'd just talked to her the day before, and was having trouble managing her medications. One of her daughters called me in tears before the appointment, saying she was terrified her mother was developing dementia and didn't know what to do. Her daughter finally convinced her to come stay for a few weeks so they could bring her to see me. Maria was fiercely independent and initially resistant to the idea that anything was wrong. But when we sat down and talked, she admitted she was scared. She told me about moments where she'd find herself in her kitchen and couldn't remember why she'd gone there, times when she'd struggled to find the right word for something simple, the growing fear that she was losing herself. She described one incident that particularly shook her. She'd put a pot of water on the stove to make tea, then completely forgotten about it until the smoke alarm went off. The pot had boiled dry and was damaged. She said, "Dr. Hartman, I spent 40 years as a nurse. I've cared for countless patients with dementia. I know what it looks like, and I'm terrified that's what's happening to me." As a former nurse, she knew the signs of dementia, and she was terrified that's what was happening to her. After a comprehensive evaluation, including cognitive testing and blood work, I found that while Maria did show some age-appropriate cognitive changes, there were also several modifiable factors at play. She was mildly anemic, vitamin B12 deficient, and significantly dehydrated. Her diet consisted mainly of processed, easy-to-prepare foods because cooking for one felt pointless to her. She'd essentially stopped taking care of herself properly after losing her husband. I worked with Maria and her family to develop a comprehensive but manageable plan. We addressed her nutritional deficiencies with supplements and dietary changes. We set up a simple meal delivery service so she'd have nutritious food without the burden of cooking. And critically, I introduced her to the habit of drinking green tea throughout the day. Maria had always been a coffee drinker, usually several cups with lots of cream and sugar, which was dehydrating her further. We transitioned her to drinking 3 cups of green tea daily, plain or with a little honey. The change didn't happen overnight. It took about 6 weeks before Maria and her family noticed significant improvements. But gradually, she became more alert, more present in conversations. Her memory for recent events improved. She started calling her children more regularly and remembering the details of their lives. She even started a small garden on her apartment balcony, something she hadn't had the mental energy or focus for in over a year. Maria told me months later, "Dr. Hartman, I thought I was fading away. I thought this was just what getting old meant. But I feel like I got a part of myself back." Now, I want to be very clear about something important. Green tea is not a cure for dementia or Alzheimer's disease. It's not going to reverse serious neurological conditions. If you or a loved one are experiencing significant memory problems, personality changes, or cognitive decline, you absolutely need a thorough medical evaluation. There are many treatable conditions that can cause cognitive symptoms, from vitamin deficiencies to thyroid problems to medication interactions. What I'm sharing with you is evidence that proper hydration and the regular consumption of beverages rich in neuroprotective compounds can support healthy brain function, potentially slow age-related cognitive decline, and help your brain perform at its best. Think of it as giving your brain the premium fuel and maintenance it needs, not as a miracle cure. Let me walk you through exactly how to incorporate this into your daily routine in the most effective way. First, aim for 3 to 4 cups of green tea spread throughout the day. Don't drink it all at once. Your body can only absorb so much of the beneficial compounds at a time, and spacing it out maintains more consistent levels in your bloodstream. I usually recommend 1 cup in the morning, 1 mid-morning or early afternoon, and 1 in the late afternoon. Avoid drinking it too late in the evening, as even the moderate caffeine content can interfere with sleep for some people, and good sleep is crucial for cognitive health. If you're someone who wakes up during the night to use the bathroom, you might want to have your last cup by 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Second, brew it properly to maximize the benefits. Use water that's hot but not boiling, about 170 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't have a thermometer, just bring water to a boil and then let it cool for about 2 minutes before pouring. Boiling water can destroy some of the delicate catechins and make the tea taste bitter, which is why some people think they don't like green tea when really they've just been brewing it incorrectly. Steep for 2 to 3 minutes. If you steep too long, it becomes bitter and astringent. You can use tea bags or loose leaf tea, both are effective, though some people prefer the taste of loose leaf. Quality matters somewhat, but you don't need to buy the most expensive tea. A mid-range organic green tea from your local grocery store is perfectly fine. Third, drink it plain or with minimal additions. Adding lots of sugar defeats some of the health benefits and can actually impair the absorption of the catechins. If you find green tea too bitter at first, start with a lighter variety like sencha or a green tea blend. You can add a small amount of honey, which provides some antioxidants of its own, or lemon, which actually enhances the absorption of the catechins, so that's a great addition. The vitamin C in lemon helps stabilize the catechins in your digestive system, making them more bioavailable. Some people enjoy adding fresh mint or ginger for extra flavor and additional health benefits. Ginger, in particular, has anti-inflammatory properties that complement the effects of green tea. Fourth, and this is critical, don't think of green tea as a substitute for plain water. You still need adequate hydration from water throughout the day. Think of green tea as a valuable addition to your fluid intake, not a replacement. Aim for a total of 6 to 8 cups of fluids daily, with 3 to 4 being green tea and the rest being water. I had a patient, Mr. James Wilson, a 67-year-old retired teacher from Chicago, who got so excited about the potential benefits of green tea that he started drinking 8 cups a day while cutting out water almost entirely. He came back to me 2 weeks later complaining of insomnia, jitteriness, and stomach upset. I had to explain that more is not always better. The caffeine had built up in his system, and he was overdoing it. Once we adjusted his intake to a more reasonable 3 cups of green tea and adequate water, his symptoms resolved and he started experiencing the positive cognitive effects without the negative side effects. This brings me to an important point about individual variation. Some people are more sensitive to caffeine than others. If you have anxiety, insomnia, or certain heart conditions, you need to be more cautious with caffeine intake, even the moderate amount in green tea. Signs that you might be sensitive to caffeine include feeling jittery or anxious after consuming it, having difficulty falling asleep even when you drink it early in the day, experiencing rapid heartbeat or palpitations, or getting headaches. If you're sensitive to caffeine, you might want to choose decaffeinated green tea, which still retains most of the beneficial catechins and L-theanine, or limit your consumption to 1 or 2 cups in the morning only. Some people also find that drinking green tea with food reduces any potential stomach upset or caffeine sensitivity. Also, green tea can interact with certain medications, and this is something many people don't realize. It can interfere with the absorption of iron supplements, so if you're taking iron, space it out by at least 2 hours from your tea consumption. Green tea can also interact with blood thinners like warfarin because vitamin K in tea can affect clotting. If you're on blood pressure medications, the caffeine might slightly counteract their effects, though the amount in green tea is usually not significant. Some antibiotics and stimulant medications can also interact with green tea. If you're on any prescription medications, especially blood thinners, always check with your doctor or pharmacist before making significant changes to your diet or beverage consumption. It's always better to ask and be safe than to assume it's fine and risk an interaction. Let me share one final case that really illustrates the comprehensive approach we need to take for brain health. Mrs. Eleanor Thompson, a 73-year-old librarian from Seattle, came to see me with her husband. She was experiencing what she described as senior moments that were becoming more frequent and more distressing. She'd forget appointments, lose her train of thought mid-sentence, and struggle to recall names of people she'd known for years. Her husband said she just wasn't herself anymore, that the vibrant, sharp woman he'd known for 50 years seemed to be fading. As I dug into Eleanor's history, I found multiple factors contributing to her cognitive struggles. She was on several medications, including a sleeping pill and an allergy medication, both of which can impair cognition in older adults. She was grieving the recent loss of her sister and had become socially isolated, spending most of her days alone at home. She wasn't sleeping well, partly due to worry and partly due to the medications. And yes, she was chronically dehydrated, drinking maybe 2 cups of fluid on a typical day. Eleanor's case taught me, once again, that cognitive health is rarely about just one thing. It's multifactorial. We worked with her primary care doctor to adjust her medications, eliminating the ones with cognitive side effects and finding alternatives. We encouraged her to reconnect with friends and join a book club at her local library. We addressed her grief with counseling. We improved her sleep hygiene. And yes, we introduced the green tea habit, along with better overall hydration and nutrition. 6 months later, Eleanor was like a different person. She was engaged, alert, remembering things. She told me, "Dr. Hartman, I thought I was losing my mind. I thought this was the beginning of the end. But I realize now I was just neglecting myself. My brain needed care, just like the rest of my body." She was back to volunteering at the library, meeting friends for lunch, and living her life fully again. So what's the takeaway from all of this? Your brain is an organ, just like your heart or your liver. and it needs proper care to function well. Adequate hydration is foundational, non-negotiable. Without it, your brain simply cannot perform at its best. Adding green tea to your daily routine provides an extra layer of support through its unique combination of hydration, antioxidants, and cognitive-enhancing compounds. But remember, this is one piece of a larger puzzle. For optimal brain health, you also need quality sleep, regular physical activity, mental stimulation, social connection, a nutritious diet rich in vegetables, fruits, and healthy fats, management of cardiovascular risk factors like high blood pressure and diabetes, and stress management. No single intervention is a magic bullet, but each positive change you make contributes to better cognitive function and a lower risk of decline. If you're concerned about your memory or cognitive function, please don't ignore it or assume it's just normal aging. Make an appointment with your doctor for a comprehensive evaluation. Many causes of cognitive symptoms are treatable, from vitamin deficiencies to thyroid problems to medication side effects to sleep apnea. Catching problems early gives you the best chance for intervention. Starting today, I encourage you to make one simple change. Begin drinking green tea regularly. Start with 1 cup a day if you're new to it, and gradually increase to 3 to 4 cups over a week or two. Pay attention to how you feel. Do you notice improved focus, better energy in the afternoon, clearer thinking? Many of my patients report noticing a difference within 2 to 3 weeks. Some people notice changes even sooner, within a few days, particularly in terms of sustained energy and reduced afternoon mental fatigue. Keep a simple journal if you want, jotting down how you feel each day. This can help you track the changes and stay motivated. Track your overall fluid intake to ensure you're staying well hydrated. Your urine should be pale yellow throughout the day. If it's dark, you need more fluids. Set reminders on your phone if you tend to forget to drink enough. I have many patients who set alarms for every 2 hours as a reminder to drink something. Keep a water bottle and a cup of tea at your desk or wherever you spend most of your time. Make it convenient. If you have to go searching for a drink, you're less likely to do it consistently. Some of my patients prepare a thermos of green tea in the morning so it's ready whenever they want it throughout the day. And most importantly, be patient with yourself. Cognitive changes, especially age-related ones, didn't happen overnight, and improvements won't either. But with consistent attention to your brain's basic needs, proper hydration, neuroprotective nutrients, and all the other lifestyle factors we've discussed, you can support your cognitive health and give yourself the best possible chance of maintaining mental sharpness as you age. Remember, every small positive change you make matters. Your brain has remarkable plasticity and resilience, even in older age. It's never too late to start taking better care of it. If this information has been helpful, please share it with someone you love who might benefit from it. Leave your questions and experiences in the comments below. I read them all and use your feedback to create more content that addresses what you really want to know. Take care of yourself, take care of your brain, and I'll see you in the next video.